Welcome to True Tall Tales, where reality is stranger than fiction. Now, have you ever heard of a job so wild, so jaw-dropping, unexpected, it sounds made up? Well, meet Bill Edgar, the man who literally has the strangest job in the world. He happens to be a coffin confessor. Yep, you heard me. Bill gets paid to crash funerals and deliver messages from the dead. Letters the dearly departed were too scared, too shy, or just too damn polite to say while they were alive. So now, from beyond the grave, he speaks the truth, whether it's confessions, secrets, or a finale middle finger to an ex. This episode is extra special because I recorded this mind-blowing interview with one of my best mates, Grace, 2 years ago on a different podcast. But it was just too wild and too crazy of this true tall tale not to share it on my podcast with my listeners because, as you know, this podcast is about true tall tales, and to hear Bill's true tall tales of the people he deals with, of crashing funerals for a living, it's so wild that I'm so excited for you to listen to this. So tune in, buckle up, and just take it as it comes because it's one of my favorite interviews I've ever done in my podcast career. So enjoy. Here it is. Guys, today we have a very special guest today. He is the voice from Beyond the Grave. He is a private investigator, but he also represents the deceased at their own funeral. He's invited to gate crash funerals by his clients who are on their deathbed and want him to deliver the truth to the people at their funerals. He calls himself the Coffin Confessor, and we welcome him today to Spilling Tequila to learn more about his unusual line of work. Hello, Bill Edgar, and welcome to the show Spilling the Tequila.
G'day, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yay, we're so excited.
So excited. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
All right, let's go straight into the show. Straight up, can you explain what a coffin confessor is and how you went from a private investigator to a coffin confessor?
Yeah, so basically what I do is I crash funerals on behalf of the deceased, telling those that were loved how much they were loved and those that were loved to hate to fuck off. That's basically it in a nutshell. So I crash funerals on behalf of the deceased, telling their stories, and it's their stories. It's not mine. I'm just the messenger. That's all I am.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Can I just get a visual? Because I can't imagine being at a funeral and it happening. Do you go in and sit and wait for the service to start and then find the appropriate time? Or is it like a Wedding Crashers situation where you dramatically burst through the door? And if someone requested that, would you do that?
Oh, yeah, nothing's off limits. However, what I do is I sit with my clients and we nut out exactly what they want done. So, for instance, the very first crash I ever did, my client said, look, when my best mate is performing the eulogy, about a minute and a half in, I want you to stand up, tell him to sit down, shut up or fuck off, because he's been trying to screw my wife while I'm on my deathbed and he's not a friend.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
So you go.
No, I was just going to say it's kind of like a movie. Like I don't know. How do people react to that? Is it like quite has anyone?
It's shock. It's horror.
Yeah.
It's a funeral and every funeral's different. However, my entrance is always the same. So I'll sit amongst family and friends.
Yes.
I'll turn up to the funeral. I'll meet and greet a few people. They'll ask me how I know the deceased, and I'll say, I may have worked with them or I've just known them for a while. And I'll sit with family and friends. And at a certain time, specific time that my clients have requested, I'll stand up and I'll basically go in and I say, look, excuse me, my name's Bill Edgar. I am the Coffin Confessor. Please sit down, shut up, or bugger off. The person in the coffin's got something to say, and this is what it is. And I'll open an envelope, pull out the letter, and read exactly what that person has left unsaid. Now, a lot of people will find that confronting, and, there's a lot of shock. But what I do is I get the crowd on my side. It's the most important part of the whole thing because I need the crowd to be able to tell other people that want to stand up and say bugger off, to say, hey, listen, this is our loved one. We want to know what he's left or she's left unsaid. We want to hear them. We want to know what their message is. So let him speak, and that's what I do. I get the crowd on my side as quickly as I can.
And yeah, true. That's a good way to do it. And I guess
What I was going to say quickly was, what's the worst request you've ever had from a client where you think it's gone too far? If you've ever had one, you don't have to name what it is, just in case due to privacy. But
Oh no, look, there's nothing that. Look, I have no care or concern for those left behind. So there's nothing that can go too far. Obviously, as a PI, I do look into their claims, and I make sure that their claims are truthful and above board. And plus, they're paying good money, so it's not like they're going to lie or BS, on their deathbed. Very rarely, and if ever. I guess an abusive husband I had to confront and let him know that his 3 children weren't his, they were his brothers. The children are aware. The mother actually told, confided in the children and let them know exactly what was going on before she passed. So she did everything that she could to do right. However, he was very abusive. He was a prick. And so I had to confront him and let him know exactly what she wanted left unsaid, and I told him exactly in her terms, her voice, basically. I loaned my voice to her, and it didn't go down too well for him.
Has anyone ever kicked off and just started a brawl?
I was going to ask that because, as Grace is...
Physical or verbal?
Because you're at a funeral, and of course, when you're saying something like that, these aren't your kids or you cheated. These are like big accusations. Everyone's there mourning at a funeral. Surely when people are that upset about someone dying, someone's going to get violent from their emotions taking over. Has that happened? And do you have to get security, or what do you do for that?
No, it hasn't got to, and it may do get to a confrontation where it comes to blows. But either way, I mean, I do what I do. I don't care. I've been around the block a long time. It's not my job is not for the faint of heart or those that fear. Believe me, it's quite it's a confrontational job. But look, I guess there's two instances. One was a bikies funeral where the bikies said that if they didn't like what I heard, they'll be jumping in the hole with them, with the deceased. So, but they didn't mind. It was all in good fun and jest. So it ended up pretty good. The other one was a gentleman that his request was that he didn't want a religious funeral. And my contract states that I'm allowed to take the body with me if things go pear-shaped. And in the contract, I have another hearse. I have everything planned out before I go to the funeral. So that way, in case something happens, I can take the body with me. There's no problem there.
Wow.
Now, in this matter, the man did end up having a religious funeral. So I did have to tell the priest to sit down, shut up or fuck off, because my client wasn't religious. His mum and dad were very religious. He hadn't seen his mum and dad in I think it was 17 years. Yet they planned a religious funeral, not for him, for them. And it wasn't their funeral. It's his funeral. The people that were there, they understood that. His mates that attended the funeral, they were very happy because they knew he wasn't religious. Confronted by the parents, but at the end of the day, like I said to them, it's not your funeral. He may be your son. It's not your funeral. And if you love your son that much, you should respect his wishes, his dying wishes, and his death wishes are not to have a religious funeral. And he will be cremated, not buried.
Sorry.
I was just going to say that's such a good point, because I think most of the time funerals are for the people left behind rather than the actual deceased, as a way of,
that's
processing.
Exactly. And that's disrespecting the deceased.
Exactly.
It's not about us. It's about the person laying in the coffin.
Yeah.
And it's all about them. It's their funeral, their day, everything. So and we're supposed to be going to a funeral and celebrating their life. And my opinion is their life could be good, bad, funny or sad. It could be horrendous. It could be anything. But why do we sit at a funeral, we bow our heads and we just nod to the bullshit someone's talking about somebody, how nice they are. And we know personally what a prick they are.
Yeah.
So stand up, be a coffin confessor yourself. If you're at a funeral and you know that person was an actual prick and everybody else around you does, yet the priest who knew him for like a month or doesn't know him at all and gets his name or her name wrong through a service is so annoying that it becomes a money thing, and it's all about the money. And yes, I get paid good money. Look, I get paid $10,000 a funeral, but they don't need the money where they're going, and I never get a complaint.
I want to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never get a complaint.
That's true. From an outsider, like, okay, so you're a stranger at the funeral. Everyone's friends and family there. You've introduced yourself. No one knows who you are. If I was at a funeral and, a guy just started making accusations, reading this letter, what proof do you have? When you're meeting with your clients on the deathbed, are you recording it on video? Is it just a contract like a will where they're putting it in writing? Like, what proof do you have? Like, do you say, well, this is a letter they wrote? Because they'd be like, well, who are you? You're a stranger. We've never seen you in our life. What's a coffin confessor? You know what I mean? What do you say at that point, and what proof do you have?
Yeah, I have audio.
Okay.
Between me and my client, everything's audio. We do have a signed contract as well, contractual obligation. But the letter itself that I read is actually written by my client.
Mm-hmm.
Written and signed by my client. I didn't write it. I assist with some of the wording because these people are like, 4, 6 weeks, days out of dying. So they need assistance. They need help, And it could be a caregiver or a nurse that helps them. It could be anybody else that helps them at that time. But I give them plenty of time to write the letter. And then obviously I've got to make sure it's legible and I can read it, because I don't want to stand up at a funeral and read something and go, I don't know what the fuck this person's saying, but anyway, you're all fuckheads.
Yeah.
Get out, go away. You know what I mean?
You don't want doctor's handwriting.
No, exactly. So I got to make sure that I know exactly what's in the letter before I do it. Obviously, I do have a letter that I don't know what's in, and until that person dies, I don't know what it is until I open it, and that's purely because he's disclosing a crime. And if I know the crime, I've got to report it. However, if he writes it down and posts it to me and I don't open it, no one can open anybody else's mail. So I won't know what that crime is until I open it. Now, some people are going to say, or some people are going to say, but if it's a crime, you should report it, or, you should know. Well, I don't know what the crime is. I just know that it's a crime. It could be a misdemeanor. It could be a major crime. It could help somebody. It could find somebody. It could be a murder. It could be anything. At the end of the day, I'm obliged as the coffin confessor to do the right thing. And that right thing is to confess at the person's funeral, not before.
Do people confess crimes?
Absolutely.
Do you think that they do it, or if you know that they do it, do you think that they do it out of like absolving themselves of some sort of guilt, or is it just like, hey, I did this, like everyone should know?
You know what I've learned through death is that every person on their deathbed, I don't care if you're an atheist, religious, Catholic, whatever you are, every person on their deathbed doesn't want to die. Yeah. And they pray to God that they just can hang on for a bit more longer, or they pray to God that their families are going to be looked after. And it may not be a prayer as in a prayer, but it's just a feeling. And a lot of them sort of get this shit out of the closet. And every person on the planet's got a skeleton in the closet. It's just a matter if you want to let it out or not. Now, why they let it out is really up to them. It's their reasonings. I mean, of course, I ask them, and sometimes they'll say, look, I wanted to tell the person directly, but I'm on my deathbed and they haven't come and seen me in 6 weeks. I'm going to die in 6 days and I'm still not going to get to see them. Or I'm too sick, or I'm too weak to confront people. I don't want to go through the emotions, the arguments. I did wrong. Yes, I stole the car off my uncle. It was me the whole time, and I went out searching with my uncle for the car, but I sold it for drug money and stuff like that. Yeah. And he's on his deathbed telling these stories, and you're like, it's so sad that we live the way we do, but that's life.
Bill, I just wanted to ask, how do you prepare yourself to train for this line of work? I can imagine your emotions really take a beating because you're granting a dying person's wish, something they've always wanted to say but could never say, and they're afraid. But you're speaking for them at their funeral when if it's about something sad, angry, or happy. Do you feel that you take these emotions upon yourself when you go home at night, or do you train yourself to be numb to speak their truth? Like, how do you? I know like a lot of actors and stuff like that, when they're in the moment and stuff, they sometimes take those emotions. Like when you're doing this, you're feeling what the audience at the funeral is going through, sad, happy. Obviously, you're speaking on behalf of them. So I could imagine you would take that, like you would have that same emotion. Well, how do you train for that? Or you just, being a private investigator, you learn to turn numb and just switch off when you go home like doctors do, I guess?
Yeah, I guess it's that way. I mean, my upbringing and my childhood was ripped away from me from the age of 7, so I never had a childhood. And you know, I was emotionally destroyed, so I don't have that type of feelings you're talking about. I can disconnect very quickly from everybody. I don't have a friend in the world. I'll tell you that right now. I do not have a friend I can have a beer with. I can't phone anybody for a conversation. And that's not because of any other reason but me. I don't want to carry other people's baggage. I don't want to, it's just the way I am. I can't do it. I can't deal with other people. I have my own feelings, my own family, you know, my wife and my children, my grandchildren, and that's it. That's my circle. Anything outside that, I totally, it means nothing. And I'm not a good friend either. I've known that over the years. So people gravitate to me. I have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world now, you know, talking to me, sending me love letters and niceties and all this stuff. And it's beautiful. It really is. But I'm not their friend. I'm just an acquaintance. I'm just a person doing a job. I can disconnect very quickly. I can talk to you, I can look at you, I can smile at you and everything else. I'll never stab you in the back, but I'll always stab you in the front.
Oh, I like that. I think it's your destiny to go into this line of work, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Sonny and I always say that we find that the people who have really great careers or have sort of found their purpose, so to speak, as cheesy as that sounds, is usually some way stumbling into it or by fate or by chance. Or
absolutely. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. It was like when I became a PI, which was like 15 years ago, it was an accident. I just have this knack and ability to see things that other people can't see, I suppose. And I have this gravitation where people will gravitate towards me, and I can weed out the good, the bad, you know, and my wife will always say, why do you always look for the bad in people? And it's not that I look for it. Yeah. I see it. I just see it. And unfortunately, I see it so much that I don't want to be surrounded by people. I want to be surrounded by my horses, my dogs, my cat, my birds. You know what I mean? I'd rather be with your animals than you. And that's not, I'm not being offensive or abusive. I'm just saying that's the way I am.
Maybe it's a Queenslander thing. You actually sound like my dad. My dad always puts his dogs and his animals. He has 2 cockatoos, Rocky and Rambo, lives in the Whit Sundays. I'm originally from Bundaberg, and he's like, I'd rather put my animals before the kids and stuff. So you actually sound like my dad.
I used to live in the Whit Sundays. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I've lived up there before, so.
Too humid for me. Gorgeous. Everyone in a bad mood, but yeah, it's nice in the postcards.
Well, it's worse up further if you go to Cairns. I lived in Cairns for 8 to 10 years, and that's just as bad. So even worse, actually, the humidity.
It's too much. Yeah, it's too much for me. Yeah. Sorry, Bryce, what were you going to say?
Oh, I just wanted to ask, because my secret dream job is to be a private investigator, which is never going to happen for me. But how did that happen for you?
I was working in the debt collection industry. It was something that I just needed a job at the time. 15 years ago, I'd come out of other professions. I'd been managing nightclubs. I was a bouncer. I was a boxer. I was everything you could think of just to make money. Roof tiler, bricklayer, concreter, steel fixer, you name it, I did it. Anything to make money. And then I hurt myself, and I needed a cushy job, something that I could just sit down and use the phone. So I went into debt collecting, and I was collecting, and I have the gift of the gab. I can talk money out of people, you know, it was just great, you know, and I was getting all these debts finalized and I was getting money off everybody. And then this one lady had phoned me up one week and she said, I don't owe this money. I'm going, yes, you do. You've got to pay it, you know, and I was ruthless. And then she phoned me the next week and she said, look, we don't owe this money. I really don't owe it. Anyway, I just looked into her debt, and lo and behold, I found the debt collection industry was fraudulent, and they were buying debts that were actually written off. And none of the people that were paying the debts actually owed 1 cent. All the debts were written off through an insurance company that the banks had used and sold the debts to a third party for, let's say, a $50,000 debt got sold for, say, $400, yet the debt collector would go after my client for $50,000.
Yeah.
plus the 400 that they paid for the debt.
Oh.
So I needed something behind me to prove that this was going on. And so I studied and I did a little bit of law, and I went into, okay, well, I'm going to be a PI and I'm going to be Australia's only debt detective. And that's what I did for 15 years. And I uncovered the debt collection industry, and I exposed it, and I helped thousands of people throughout Australia, even today. And unfortunately, that lady, she took her own life because everything that compounded in her life, plus us harassing, intimidating, and tormenting her for money that she didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, bless.
Oh, I feel like you're, I don't know, I'm getting the vibe that you're for the underdog. I like
Yeah, I guess I am, because I was an underdog. I was there.
Yeah.
I've been in debt. I've been harassed. You know, I was a child. I was 7, and I was dragged from my bed, raped, beaten, abused by you know, family members and the school that I went to. You know, it was a horrific childhood. My dreams would probably haunt your nightmares, and it's something that's, I guess, some people turn to drugs, alcohol, or whatever they do. Me, I use those bad things to better myself and to help other people, and to say, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And if I can survive, you will survive too.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's where it's led to where you are now. And I can tell by the tone of your voice, like, you're being the Coffin Confessor as well. Like, the way that you talk and the tone of your voice, like, I trust you. I want to listen. You know what I mean? Like, it's not offensive the way that you talk. You just got a good voice. Like, I'm kind of sold on, like, talking to you now, and I'm taking it in. Like, I think you've got to have the right voice to do it. I think you can't be, I don't think you could have a really weird voice being a Coffin Confessor. Do you know what I mean? Like, hi, my name's Taylor.
You got to be able to tell people to fuck off, but still be nice about it. Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, you know. Since the Coffin Confessor was started, which was 2018, you know, I've been doing home sweeps, which is, you know, people having a fall, having to go to hospital, they're not able to go home. So I go to their homes and I clean them out of things and items that their family and friends don't need to find. You know, sex toys, drugs, paraphernalia, whatever it is, wills, videos, whatever it is. I have to basically take those from the home and destroy them on video, and then go back to my client and say, look, your house is now swept. It's all clean. Your kids can go back there and go rummage through it, and they won't know that you're a sex deviant or whatever you were. You know what I mean? But that's a thing for people. People worry about that shit, even on their deathbed. They don't want to be known as a cross-dresser or a freak, and society allows us to call these people those names because it's society. It's bullshit. We should be able to live the way we want to live, and that's, you know,
I agree.
Unfortunately, we don't, but we should be.
It's easier said than done, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Bill, I've got a random question, and I just wanted to know, answer this. You've got a client, right? They want you to, confess at their funeral. What if there's something that you didn't want to confess? How would they ever know if you've confessed it, because they're dead? So they paid you the money, and then you've got, they expect you to confess on the date, when they've passed away. No one would ever know that they've come to you and for you to go to the funeral. So what's the follow-up with that? Is it more like a moral thing? Because then it's, you know what I mean?
Well,
that you've done that.
It is it is a moral thing, but it's also a trust. I mean, there's a lot of trust that goes on involved. But I've got to say to you, my second client, she instilled in me the value that we all die. And if I'm going to steal from the dead, you're dead a long time. You know, you live less than you are dead. And if there's an afterlife, I'm fucked if I go and take,
I agree.
It's just one of those things. I am karma, I believe. I am karma. And if karma can get karma, it'd be a terrible way to go. So I get paid very well for what I do, and I do it. It's not always a funeral crash. It could be a will reading, could be a home sweep. It could be a face-to-face. I mean, I've done a lot of face-to-faces lately. I'm delivering a lot of gifts from beyond the grave. Only 2 days ago, I had to go to see a gentleman and deliver a bottle of wine, a bunch of flowers, and a card that had a gift in it, a world trip. And his wife died 7 months ago, and it was their anniversary 2 days ago. And he had no idea, not a clue. And so now I'm doing afterlife delivery services and all those things. next month. Next year, well, it's a beautiful thing though.
It's beautiful. So I really love that. I never looked at it that way before, like, because it's kind
exactly.
of like, yeah, wow. Sorry, keep going.
But you got to look at it my way too. I'm about to knock on this bloke's door. His wife died seven months ago.
Yeah.
Is some chick going to answer the door and go, who the fuck are you? I'm with him now. Or, you know what I mean? Or is some bloke with him and is he gay? I don't know. So I've got to put all these things into perspective too. But when he opened the door, he was a broken man. I mean, he's lost his wife 7 months ago. They were together for 43 years. And it was very emotional for him. For me, it was a joyous moment because two things. One, I was delivering the gift, and it was a job that I had pending for 7 months.
Yeah.
And it was good to get rid of that job. But at the same time, to see the emotion and everything on that man's face, it was truly humbling experience for me. I felt like giving him a big hug and that, but that's not me. That's not the Coffin Confessor. We're just there to do a job, and I do the job and I walk away. Yeah. It's like a funeral crash. When I crash a funeral, after I read exactly what my client said, I put the letter back in the envelope, I put the envelope on the coffin, and I leave. I don't know if the funeral continues. I have no idea what goes on. I'm out of there. I don't go for coffee, cake, and drinks afterwards. I'm out of there. I've done my job. You know, like I say, I have no care or concern for those left behind.
I love that. If I lost someone, knock on wood, 7 months ago, and you rocked up and said, "Hey, this is from such and such at Paso 7 months ago, and they wanted you to have a margarita because they know I love margaritas in tequila," I would bawl my eyes out crying. And you're right, that is a sweet thing. God, that's so good. Like I never looked at it in that way, that you also do that side of it as well. So,
exactly. I mean, I just decorated a whole room with daisies and pink carnations. This lady's room was transformed just totally in flowers because her husband, who passed away, he said, "Look, these are the only things she'll ever remember." And when I went and saw her in her home, she had dementia and she didn't know her husband. She lost her husband a long time ago. She lost all her family. But when she walked into that room and it was filled with those flowers, it hit her. Something snapped and she was just like so emotional. And she went, "Oh, that's Frankie's been here." Yeah. It was just beautiful. It was cool.
Yeah. What's, in terms of a crashing, what in your memory has been like the most positive response? So instead of the,
I can't turn away from this lady. She was married to a husband, a beautiful daughter, beautiful family, absolutely beautiful lady, beautiful friends. And she was madly in love with her best friend, another lady. It was a very secret love affair that she had in her own head. She wanted to be with her. She wanted to make love with her and everything else. It was full on, absolutely full on. Her husband wasn't disappointed or heartbroken about hearing any of this. However, her friend came to me and she said, "I felt exactly the same way, but I was too embarrassed. I was just too embarrassed." And that was really full on for me. I'd never forget that because I thought to myself, they were friends from the age of 11. She died at 62, I think she was. And they both loved each other in secret and silence for all that time. Incredible.
That's
this, like, even just talking to you for this period of time, this is just like every day must be a reminder to you to just like keep living life.
Live. Whatever you do in life, live. And I get people turning around and they say, live life, go skiing, go jump out of a plane, do all that. Fuck that. Live life. And what I mean by live life is that if you've got a day tomorrow and all you have to do is do a bit of gardening, look after the kids or whatever because it's Good Friday and there's nothing else to do, enjoy it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Don't just live it. Fucking enjoy it. And that's what you got to do. My wife will say, you're starting to live life, Bill. I've always lived life. I just enjoy it now. Yeah. I really do enjoy it. I got to enjoy living because if I don't, I will die, So I got to enjoy it. And And that's something I try to instill in a lot of people. You know, you can live life, great. Everybody lives life, but fucking enjoy it, no matter what. Just enjoy it. Do something that day that you're going to enjoy. And if it's sitting out in the garden having a cup of tea by yourself and just thinking away the day, enjoy it. Who gives a fuck? Just, yeah.
I agree. Anyone that knows me, Bill, it's my famous quote. I live every day as if it was my last. Anyone that knows me, I'm a very positive, happy guy. And it's good hearing this. From what you're saying before, when you're, doing the positives of, decorating the house with flowers and all that, has anyone, I don't know if you've been to America, but has anyone approached in America to do a reality TV show or even base a show based on it? Because let me tell you, a reality side, if I was watching a show where you've rocked up to someone's house where they had someone die a year ago and you're bringing flowers, setting up, I would watch that reality show because I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm getting so emotional. And if I could watch this and we all die. People forget about that. We're all going to die.
That's right.
The people, this
every
is
person
such a
on the
good
planet.
concept as a show, if it's real life reality or also basing a TV show on what you do. Has this been approached you? Because it's very marketable and I'd watch it.
I think Sonny's trying to pitch it to you.
Yeah, I have signed a contract with Paramount Pictures for a movie. I have signed a couple of other deals. I brought out a book last year with Penguin Random House Australia called The Coffin Confessor. Penguin Random House actually just gave me another contract 2 weeks ago for my second book, which is titled The Afterlife. And that'll have heaps of stories that'll blow you away, absolutely blow you away. It's insane what I've been doing in the last 2 years and what's to come in the next month. I'll be the only person on the planet, again, because I'm the only coffin confessor in the world. I've nearly got it set up. I'm doing coffin camping. So you can come to my farm. Yeah. I'll be your host and you get to sleep in an actual coffin.
Oh my God.
Shut up. No way.
That's what
that's it. Yeah.
Wait, so when the lids, this is about, I don't know, I've never said, when the lids close, can you breathe? Or
yeah, you can. You can. No, I've definitely got the coffin specially designed to,
No, I didn't know.
Just got one from Costco.
Yeah.
But no. Look, to be honest with you, I have got a proper coffin. They're all proper coffins. I've just designed them a little bit different. One of them I have not touched at all, and I lay in it for quite some time. Yeah, you can breathe. I mean, it's not a problem. It's like this tiniest little gap, in the coffins. I mean, at the same time, it's a very cathartic experience.
Mm.
It's quite. Look, I jumped down a grave probably, 10 months ago and had to do a job for a gentleman who wanted to take his shit with him because he had a crap family and there's too many vultures in his family and he wanted to take everything with him. So he asked me where the best place was to bury it. And I came up with under his coffin. So I jumped in his grave, dug a big hole, put all his belongings in it. And when his funeral came, his coffin went down and then they covered it all up. So to this day, nobody knows where all his shit is, but I do.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's a cathartic experience. It's very emotional.
Very emotional.
I guess.
But it's good. It's therapeutic. I mean, you can come and stay on the farm. You get your wine, your cheese, your chocolate, and you sit there around a campfire and you have a talk with you and 4 friends can come, or you alone, or you and a partner, and you get to experience something that we're all going to experience, but we're all going to be dead when we experience it. This is the try before you die.
I'll tell you what, Grace and I will try it one day. I promise you that. There you go. So we'll get to meet.
Absolutely.
And we'll try it.
Definitely.
We'll do it. Trust me.
Be my guest.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I don't want to be in a coffin. Coffins freak me.
I'll do it for you, then you can watch me.
I want to be I want to get exploded like fireworks.
Well, you know what? I want my coffin filled with fireworks when I go into the crematorium.
And you know what? If I pass away before you, Bill, I will get someone I will definitely hire a coffin confessor, because I know at my funeral, I want everyone to be there, but I want the coffin confessor to come out and say, Sonny Joe said margaritas on the house, and then all waiters come out, everyone gets margaritas, and I want it to be
beautiful
than a funeral.
Nice.
And yeah.
Exactly. That's what it's about. It's about what you want. I mean, I'm doing a lady's funeral who hasn't passed yet, and she wants 100 horses to run through the procession, which is on her property, and I'm going to organise that. Not a problem. It'll be beautiful. It's what she wants.
I guess to finish off, not on a downer, because I think this is a positive question.
And I've got one after Grace as well.
You're right.
What's your perception of death?
Good question.
Yeah, look, I can only hope there's an afterlife, because I've got a lot of fucking people I want to come at that are dead. I really hope there's an afterlife. I really do, because, I'd be like Princess Diana sitting there just waiting for fucking Charlie to die. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd love there to be an afterlife. I really hope there is. Personally, and I've got to say this because I've done too many of them lately. People who get buried in a graveyard, and it's a traditional thing, before you fucking die, go and look around. If that's your forever, ever place, and that's where you want to be, fine. Me, I want to be on the ocean. I want to be my ashes on the ocean, followed by a bottle of port. Now, I'll go out and I'll have a look at the ocean, and I'll think, what a beautiful place. I go past the cemetery and I think, fuck if I want to be sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay, you're dead. But I mean, go. It's your forever home. Your forever, ever home. Believe me. We're all going there.
Yeah.
I agree. My last question for you to end the show was a little bit of gossip. Is it true that Ricky Gervais, I heard on the grapevine, is trying to find you for you to be his Coffin Confessor? Has that happened already, or is he still trying to find you while you're back in Australia?
Yeah,
allegedly. Sorry, TMZ.
You're asking questions I can't confirm or deny. You know what? I've spoken to a number of very high-profile people and some beautiful people, and it's incredible where I'm going and what's happening. I mean, I'll be going to the US, the UK. My book's just hit China, Poland. It's just insane. And I've spoken to some very, very funny comedic people from around the world, and A-listers, Australian A-list actors, and I've got to say, they're all wonderful. And as a Coffin Confessor, it's a confession, and I do not let the cat out of the bag.
No, good on you. I like that.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yes. Yeah, true. Well,
Allegedly.
Thank you so much for coming on Spilling Tequila. You're amazing, Bill, and we can't wait for the deal you got with Paramount Plus and your book, and we'll put all your details on the episode as well with your website. Anything else, Grace, before we go?
No, we really appreciate it, and I think I speak on both of us that we feel very inspired by this.
Correct, you have inspired us.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes,
excellent.
Gonna go enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
Maybe feel therapeutic. I feel good after this.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's not dark, and we should all be talking about death. It's not a bad thing.
Agree.
We've got to start talking about it. And this is a beautiful thing about what I do. I'm starting to get the world talking about death, because it can't be scary and spooky and all that religious bullshit. It's just got to be what it is. It's death. So, you know what? Embrace it. Happy Death Day.
Yes, love it.
Like, what's his name? What's that? A comedian before we go from Australia called Jim Jeffries. You know why? Because I'll be fucking dead. That's his line.
That's it. You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bill. You have a lovely night, and we'll speak to you soon, okay? Take care.
Thanks for having me, guys, and hi to all your listeners. Take care.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, was that not the craziest interview you've ever heard on what he does for a living? No wonder why I wanted to share this old podcast episode onto my podcast here. So thank you for tuning in. If you've got a story you want to share, feel free to reach out to me on any of the socials, or you can send me an email to truetalltalespodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. I see you, I hear you from everyone from around the world. There's lots of listeners from around the world, and that makes me excited to do this every day for you, and just excited just to share stories and hear other people's stories, because they're real, and I think that's the meaning of life. Everyone has their own story. Anyway, before I ramble, because you know what I'm like with my ADHD, I will let you go. I will speak to you soon. Thanks again, everyone. My name is Sunny Boy. You're listening to True Talk Tales. Do something nice, make someone smile. It's a great feeling. Peace out. Bye-bye.